The Message is a book about writing, and it's a book about words and how writing is deployed. And there are two parts to that tagline. There is the democracy part, and then there's the Middle East part. It was quickly clear that Israel's not a democracy. Like that was just immediately obvious. You know what I mean? Like you tell me you got one set of laws for half the population, and everybody else abides by a varying set of laws. Like according to what tier they're on. That's just not a democracy. You can't wipe out half the population, or you can't elevate half the population as citizens over everybody else and then call yourself. That's bullshit. You just can't do that. So that was immediately not credible. Perhaps the more interesting part of it was the Middle East part, though, because the Middle East part, what is in that is the only democracy in the Middle East. There's a silent contrast in that. That I guess is
Justification. Yeah.
yeah. And I guess it originates from only, as you know what I mean, because the idea is that these other people don't have it. And what do we hear when we hear Middle East? Like, what do we like? Why does it matter that it's in the Middle East? Like what are we hearing when we hear that? And what we are conjuring is all of the stereotypes and all the ideas of and all the dehumanizing ideas, that we have from people in that quote part of the world, end quote. And it justifies so much. It justifies the violence. Well, the only language they understand is why we got to do X, Y, and Z. We're surrounded by people who want to kill us, exterminate us, and we're fighting for a democracy. And the Herzl part that you bring in there is just this idea that was always there. Where he says, we'll be an outpost for, and I'm sorry if I'm not quoting this exactly, but we will be an outpost for civilization, and what is essentially a barbarous part of the world. You see, that's very, very familiar to me because that's the language that was used to justify enslavement. That's exactly. We're going to bring civilization to these people. We're going to bring them over. We're going to teach them Christianity. We're going to make them into, civilized, people.